Well, hello and welcome to Producer Dan. I'm Dan. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. So today I have a new song for you. It's called Look Up. And this is actually the third version I've done of this song. I originally wrote this about 25 years ago as a piano ballad. And then about 10 years ago I re-recorded it closer to the version you hear now. There's a nice video of this song as well that I released last week that I'd love for you to see. So the link is in the description below, and it will also be available for you at the end of this video to click on if you wanted to watch that. So without any further ado, let's go into Pro Tools and I'll show you the decisions that I made to get the song to where it is now. Alright, so here we are in the Pro Tools session for the song Look Up. And I really got my life doing this song, actually. This is a song that I first wrote and recorded, it was a long time ago. I think it was in my late 20s. So I really went off into a different direction with this song. The genre is a little different for me, but it was intentional. I was experimenting with different rhythms. I was using Logic at the time, which totally forgotten how to use Logic. Actually had a hard time transferring some of the old files from the Logic file to my Pro Tools session, which I did with all of the drums, all of the funky drums that I have. There's also like a xylophone sound that I use. And then there's a keyboard that I kept from the original session, this one. I really think that suits the song, and that's why I went back and kept all of those original instruments. Even the bass, I'll play that for you. It has a stereo sound, it has a chorus effect. Some of these sounds I know are dated, but I kept it. I just thought, this song already has this as the bass. I'm keeping those things. While we're on the bass, I want to show you something. I've copied the bass track. I made an exact copy. Here's the top, and here's the here's the second one. This top one, I've rolled off all of the top end and left just the bottom end, the bass part. Listen. So it's just that thick bass sound. And then this track, I've rolled off all of the most of the bottom end. Here's what that sounds like. And here they are together. And I did that so I can control the top end, actually the top and bottom, to get it where I wanted it. And it's very important to have the top end of the bass audible. And I've said this before, in the smaller speakers you need something to represent the bass if that low end's not represented. So that's a good way to get that, and it's also a good way just to mold your bass sound. So let's back up to the beginning of the song. I have these fun drums in the beginning of the song. I've labeled them low funky drum and then funky drum. The low on the left and the higher drum on the right. And they play throughout the entire song. I just have them a little louder in the beginning. And there's another fun sound that kind of pops in here too. Just to make a long story short, all of the drums, all of the percussion, the bass, the keyboard sound, and that xylophone sound all came from a session I did in Logic maybe 10 or 12 years ago. Okay, so I was going to show you this sound now. I know it's hard to hear, and unless you have headphones, but it's just like a psst, 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 psst. that adds just some subtle sound. And then there's the hi-hat. This bass drum so that's the rhythm section, and that pretty much does that throughout the beginning of the song. I wanted to show you the bass drum. In a song like this, the bass drum sound that I picked and the bass that I picked, they're both heavy in the low end, so much that they would compete with each other. And so I like to choose one or the other to be the lowest, to carry that low end. And in this song, it's the bass. It's a synth bass, but I let that have all the low end. And the original bass drum, which I'll play for you by itself, you can see what I've done with the bass drum. I've rolled off lots of this low sub bass, I guess you would call that. So it gives it a nice firm kick sound and less of a sub bass sound. Here's what it sounds like without the EQ that I've cut off. Without. I don't know if that you can hear it, but I can really hear the difference in my headphones. Now, that very low sub bass kick drum might sound appropriate and good in a different song, but in this, I really wanted the bass to carry that sub bass, which it does. I also did my own tambourine and shaker for this song. I have one right and one left, and when I recorded them through a compressor, so it really kept everything kind of reined in, so that it really needed no further compression. So once this song begins, the first real instrument I guess you hear is the acoustic guitar. So it just gives it a nice ring. I really wanted these acoustic guitars to be bright and to really, I wanted them to sound like sunshine, you know, as sunny as they could be, as bright as they could be. So when I strum the guitar for this part, I did it down here as close to the bridge as possible. It gives it that sound. That's what it gives it, that nice, firm, sunshiny sound. It gives it a ring. Here's the first chorus going into the third verse. And we'll listen to this, and I just wanted to show you the backup vocals. And was yesterday today, just look up, let the sun set you free, and take you home. It warms the fingers and the whispers of lovers when they touch. Look up. See, now the backup vocals do sound good there, but I think it would have been nice if I just backed them, maybe taken out these two here, these two high ones, and left these high ones for later on in the song. I think that would have been nice. But I called the song done last week, and that's just, well, actually all 8 of them kick in here in this last lookup. And I will admit that I tuned these vocals to the bejesus. All of these backup vocals have gone through Melodyne, and I've tuned them. So they sound pretty good. Fingers and the whispers of lovers when they touch. Look up. So, I mean, I don't consider myself a world-class singer by any means. I do a little bit of everything, and I can sing, but am I an expert singer? No, I'm not. And do I use auto-tune? Yes, in every song. I will admit that. So, And I was pleased with the way that sounded and the way it came out. So the third verse, after this first chorus, we go right into the third verse, and a lot of the instruments come in. That's where that xylophone sound comes in. If we wait for tomorrow, then we won't have today. We keep wishing for the future. Well, how can we have a future if we don't live today? So everything evolves as we move through the song. So the second chorus, we got to the second chorus. Don't live today, just look up, let the sun set you free and take you home. We have trumpets coming in there subtly. So, with this version of this song, this recording, I wanted to make it as bright and sunny as possible. And I do live in Miami, and I think these trumpets actually give this song a Latin feel. I also have maracas and a tambourine that play throughout the entire song as well, which helps with that. So this song kind of balances between Latin sounding and also African. Some of the drum sounds that I've chosen, those funky drums in the beginning, were part of an African sound library from Logic. And so I chose the sunniest, brightest things I could find. And so adding the trumpets was something that I thought really helps out the song, especially at the end. If you've seen the video and heard the entire song, you'll see they really do kick some butt at the end. I love them. So here they are doing their thing in the second chorus. Here we are. Don't live today, just look up, let the sun set you free and take you home. It warms the fingers and the whispers of lovers when they touch. Look up. Now, there are a couple other sounds that come in that give the song more of an African sound. Listen for the African voices in the background. The wind comes and blows away the strength you had to face. It really heightens the song, gives it some height as the song grows, as the song builds. And so in this bridge, the first electric guitar plays. Interesting thing about this guitar, look at the EQ. There is some major sizzle at this, some major crackle at this in these frequencies that I thought it sounded great as I was recording it, but when I went to mix it, I'm like, whoa, that's really harsh. I'll play it for you here. Hear that? Hear the difference? So it was missing a little bit of rumble, a little bit of low end. This was all very harsh, and again, it's all about what it sounds like in the mix, and I'll show you. Look up, let the sun set you free. And here's without the EQ. Look up, let the sun set you free. It's very buzzy and fuzzy and crackly, and it doesn't sound right, and it's missing some of the grumble here, which I wanted. that's why EQ is important, and that's why getting it right at the source is important. I'm learning as I'm going, and this is a pattern that I'm seeing with myself, that I'm thinking these guitar presets that I have in my 11 rack sound good, and they do, but when it comes to the mixing and integrating them into the song, sometimes this is necessary, and thank God for EQ. I also wanted to talk about this, the lead solo that I did with my toy guitar that I have hanging over here that you've seen in my other videos. It's a small blue plastic guitar with stickers all over it. The stickers are from different countries that I visited in the past, and a few other stickers as well. But I actually bought that guitar in Paris. I wanted something as a souvenir, and I just didn't want one of those little Eiffel Towers or something common like that. And I thought, so I looked around in a junk store just to see what I could find, and but I ended up buying that and doing that with it just to represent my travels. So, and I used this guitar in the last recording I did about 10 years ago with this song, and I was happy with it then, so I re-recorded it with that same sound, and here it is. So I thought it was fun, I thought it was sunny, I thought it was cute. It's not a good sounding guitar by any means, but I wanted to make it sound as good as I could. And I had to take off some of the snap. You can probably hear it if I play it for you. It's a bit severe, so I had to knock back the plucking sound a little bit. So I've done this part. And yes, I have a lot of reverb and delay on this as well. I've also doubled this. I made another track just underneath it here and copied and pasted everything down. But I've moved this. You can see I've shifted it ahead just a little bit. Here's the bounce track. So they are treated a little differently, and I've left a little high end on that bounce track just to sonically make them a little different. I've taken the toy guitar double track and panned it to the right to give some separation and movement. So since that double track has been moved ahead just a little bit, it kind of gives it a little bit of movement. Like a delay, but quicker, more like a slap back. And so here's what they sound like together. And very light compression. So it gives it a little uniformity, reins it in a little bit so there are no jabbing, spikes. I did a lot of work on that toy guitar track just to integrate it into the song and to make it sound like it belonged there, because it really is a poor sounding instrument, but it was a lot of fun to play, and that plucky the plucky sound of that guitar really made it fun and lightened up the song just before it goes into this second bridge and then the last two choruses where the song really just is at its peak. The wind comes and blows away the strength. You have to face the... This is where the trumpets really start to go into the higher register. The wind comes and blows away the strength. You have to face the day. Slams the door and locks you in, trapped inside your prison, waiting for a better life. Your gifts today, just step outside and you'll find it's waiting for you if you look up above. So the trumpets are the element that really make the last chorus different, more powerful, a little more fun. And I'm singing a little higher up. I'm singing the first harmony part. I like to change as much as I can as we move through the song to keep it interesting. With the electric guitars, this is where I double them up. And I actually, to be honest with you, I didn't play this twice. I used what I had. Here are the electric guitar tracks. Here's the top one that, played throughout the whole song. And here's where the second one comes in. And the only reason I'm making a big deal about this is I wanted to give the song a little more power, and I was finished recording. I was done. I wasn't going to pull out my guitar to re-record this. So to make them different, to give them the thickness, the original guitar is panned right, and then the one I introduced later is panned left. And they have to be different, or they won't have that stereo sound. If they're exactly the same, then it'll sound like they're right in the center. So since it's doing the same thing twice, I copied this part, put it here, and copied this part and put it here. And then at the end, I had to do a little bit of finagling to replicate this. I copied this and put it here, and copied this and put it here. So the top one is kind of a Frankenstein of the bottom in this part, and then at the end, this one is a Frankenstein of this one, kind of chopped up and put together. And you can see where I've made the cuts just to make that, but it makes all the difference in the world. It sounds like just one guitar playing, but it's not. It's two, and then they go wide at the very, very last chorus, and I'll play that for you. If you look up above, let the sun set you free and take you home. It wants the fingers and the whispers of lovers when they touch. Look up, just look up. So obviously these trumpets are very important here at the end. So they're octaves. The low is on this side and the high is on the left. But they really kick in at the very end here, and I'll play those kind of soloed out so you can hear what they're doing. So you can see what they're doing here. The high one holds, while this one does the bump bump ba bump. But the second time it does it, the high one joins, and they're all doing the same thing. I have to say those. That's pretty convincing. Those are pretty convincing trumpets. No complaints from me about those trumpets at all. Let's see what else I can say at the end here. I mentioned before these African voices, and this is where they really hang out the most. They get a little more powerful, as you can see right here. Here, I've got a low and a high. So those I kept from the original recording I did 10 years ago in Logic. Anyway, that is Look Up. This is the third version, and this is by far the best, as I've learned over the years, some tips and tricks. And I'm still learning. I'm moving along. I'm in no way an expert mixer or engineer or singer or musician by any means, but I've seen my own improvement over the years, so I'll share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm looking for more subscribers. The YouTube algorithm really likes to to see comments and things like that, interaction. So I'm happy to do that. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.